Okay, you have your LA Rams predictions, the first predictions of the year. So the Rams Super Bowl team, obviously start with them. They didn't really lose any pieces. They did lose Von Miller and Odell, but they replaced them with Robinson and they got Bobby Wagner. So the team is pretty much the same. So I expect another good season from them. So you got your first game of the year with the Bills versus the Rams. Let me just say that's a great game to start off the season. It's gonna be close. The the Bills were the one that got Von Miller. They still have Josh Allen. They got a running back from the draft. I think that was Cook. They still have Stephon Diggs, and their defense was the best last year, and they didn't really lose anybody. This is a close game, but the Bills have a lot of time to prepare and really no like traveling time. It's the first game of the year, and I think the Bills are out to prove they're a Super Bowl contender. Then you have the against the Falcons. Falcons, they're just a total rebuild year. The offense not that good. Their defense is complete trash. Then you have the Cardinals versus the Rams. Usually games are hard to predict, but usually Rams against the Cardinals. The Cardinals didn't really get better, and they have DeAndre Hopkins suspended in this period of time. Then you got them versus the 49ers. 40 to beat the 49ers in the NFC Championship. But in the regular season, the Rams still haven't beaten the 49ers in a lot of years. And this is a Monday night. San Francisco have home field advantage. I think I'm a team that's going to take San Francisco. I'm sure match up well against San Fran. They got week 5 versus the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are another team that got weaker in the offseason. They still have an explosive wide receiving core despite trading away Amari Cooper. They still have Dak Prescott, and their defense with Micah Parsons and a couple other talents are still good. But the Rams, I think their offense and defense is better than the Cowboys, and they have home field advantage. I'm gonna take the Rams. You got the Panthers. At this point, either way, Sam Darnold or Matt Corral, their offense isn't that good. CMC might be injured by now. The wide receiver is still Moore and Robinson, but their defense, I think their defense may surprise people, but it's not nearly enough. I'm gonna take the Rams. Then you have them against the San Francisco 49ers. This year, I don't believe the Rams will get swept by the 49ers. They're coming off a bye, and I'm just thinking the Rams. I just don't think they'll sweep them. You got Week 9 versus Tampa Bay, another interesting game. Last year, the Rams did Tampa Bay, but that was last year. This year, they still have Tom Brady. They did lose a couple pieces on defense, like Whitehead, and they did lose a couple of pieces on their offensive line. They may be able to take advantage of that, but Tampa Bay have the field advantage. It's Tom Brady's time. I think the Bucks. Against the Cardinals, Cardinals will get back DeAndre Hopkins, but like I said, I don't think they get better, and the Rams normally do great against the Cardinals. I'm gonna take the Rams. Then you got the Saints versus the Rams. I don't think people. I think the Saints losing Sean Payton is gonna be huge for them. Their defense is still good. I think their defense will continue to be good with Dennis Allen, but I think their offense is gonna take a nosedive, and the Rams are definitely gonna take advantage of that. I predict this to be a defensive game since it is a road game for them and it's a tough place to play with the dome and all. So I think the Rams offense will come through, they win. Then you have the Rams versus the Chiefs. Very good game. Chiefs, I think they stayed the same. They did lose Tyreek Hill, but they did replace him with Sky Moore, a wide receiver. Their defense, they lost Ward and they got a first round pick using him. But I do think the Chiefs are really thin. And week 12, I think got a few injuries. The Rams also, but I think they're slightly deeper than the Chiefs. So this is gonna be a close, but I eventually have the Rams. I think they're more fun team. You got the Rams versus the Seahawks. Seahawks don't really have a QB right now. If you don't have a QB, you can't win. Rams. Then you got Raiders, very interesting team. I think Raiders are a team that could either do not great this year or live up to their potential and do great. So at week 14, you should know by then. But for me, the Raiders, they're kind of in maybe fringe playoff contention. They got a bunch of wide receivers, great receiver, Renfro, Adams. Their offensive line, I think it's going to be their slight weak spot. They're still average. They have Josh Jacobs, Derek Carter defense. They've made improvement trading for a cornerback, signing Chandler Jones. But I don't think it's enough to the Rams. Their defense is stacked right now. They have Rams and all that. And their offense, I don't think the Raiders can come on the Rams. Then you got the Packers on Monday night. Packers are coming off a bye, and they have home field advantage in week 15. It's going to be cold. Rodgers still has everybody, and typically Rams just don't do well in cold weather. I think the Packers. I think the Rams versus the Broncos. Ooh, Russell Wilson versus the Rams. This is going to be a very interesting game. I definitely can see the Broncos winning, but I think the Broncos are kind of thin right now. They do have some weak spots, like along the offensive line. Defense has a couple of weak spots, and the Rams will take the advantage of the Rams. So week 17, the LA Rams versus the LA Chargers. Practically no home field advantage, and then they're just Chargers. They have Herbert. They revamped their defense with J.C. Jackson. This could definitely be a competitive game. I do think the linebackers are a slight weakness for the Chargers. The offensive line, I think Aaron Donald's going to wreck them. I'm going to take the Rams. Week 18 versus Seahawks. If the Rams sits their backups, I think the Seahawks will win. But if they aren't, I'm going to take the Rams all day. The Seahawks are reeling. So there you have my NFL, my Rams 2022 to 2023 predictions.